Hello, and let me go over some question in chapter 14. The first question: calculate the average dividend growth in the last 4 years. So basically what you should do is calculating the growth for every year. Okay, for example, the growth in the first year, let me use the pen. For example, okay, the growth in the first year would be you start the year, at the beginning of the year it is $1.17 dividend. At the end of year 1 it is 2.6. So obviously the growth in the first year would be 2.6 minus 1.17 over 1.17. Alright, so that would be the growth in the first year, as you can see from here. This would be the growth in the second year. Okay, and this is the growth in the third year. You are given dividends in the you are given 4 amount of dividends, but that should give you the growth for only 3 years. 0, 1, 2 at the end of it is $2 here, and in year 3 it is, and in year 3 it is 2.85. Okay, so this is the growth in year 1, this is the growth in year 2, and this is the growth in year 3. After you calculate all the growth for 3 years, take the average, and the answer is 47.22%. Question number 2. Last year, this company paid an annual dividend of $3.2 per share. It announced that it will increase dividend by a constant 10% annually. What is the price of the stock today? Alright, so according to the formula we study, the stock price equal to, now this you have to use the formula with D0, because D0 is given when a company paid an annual dividend per share, then that should be D0. So you should use the formula with D0, which is D0 times 1 plus G over K minus G. Alright, so D0, so D0, you can see that it is $3.2, growth is 10%, so 1 plus 10% over K is 16.8%, and G is 10%, and the answer is $51.76. Now question number 3. Calculate the cost of equity. Now over here you are given information to calculate cost of equity using both models. The dividend growth model. According to this model, the cost of equity is equal to D1 over D1 over P0 plus the growth rate. Okay, so according to this, D1 is $1.8, P0 is 1341, and growth is 5%. So according to DGM, you get the cost of equity is 18.42%. According to CAPM, the cost of equity is equal to IF plus beta times the market risk premium, okay, which is the EIM minus IF. The whole thing, EIM minus IF, is the market risk premium. So you can put in here, IF is 4.3%, beta is 1.6, market risk premium is 8.44, and the cost of equity according to CAPM is 17.8%. Now after you get the cost of capital according to DCM and CAPM, you should take the average of the two to get the final cost of equity. So which is 1842% plus 1780% over 2, and the final answer is 18.11%. Now question number 4, cost of preferred stock. Cost of preferred stock is pretty simple. It is equal to the dividend, preferred dividend, okay, preferred stock dividend over the price of the preferred stock, okay, D over P. So right now preferred dividend is 13.5%, so it would be 0.135 times the par value of preferred stock would be $100 over the price of a preferred stock right now is 19.3, and the answer is 14.7. Now question number 5, calculate the pre-tax cost of debt. So the only way for us to do this is using the financial calculator to calculate the yield to maturity. The best estimate for the cost of debt is the yield to maturity of the existing bond. So the bond has 9 years, the bond issued 2 years ago, and at that time it has 9 years to maturity. So obviously from today to maturity it has 7 years, but because it's semi-annual coupon payment, so when you put in the calculator you should put n equal to 14, okay, 7 years but semi-annual payment, so that would be 14 payment. And the present value, which is the price of the bond now, is 14.89, but when you put in the calculator you should have a negative sign. Payment is payment is 9%, but for semi-annual payment, so you should, the payment is not, I think this is a mistake, okay, let me correct it. This should not be 90, this is 45. Okay, so basically you put present value is negative 14.89, future value is $1,000. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I think this is correct. Let me go back. Now in this problem the future value is not $1,000 anymore, it is $2,000. okay, it has face value of $2,000. okay, so the payment is not 45, it is 90. Right, so I didn't read the question carefully. So the future value and the payment should be equal to 9% coupon times the face value 2,000 over 2, and it is equal to $90. Alright, so you put everything in, you should be able to calculate the interest IUI is equal to 751%, but this is the interest only for 6 months. What we are looking for is the yield to maturity. So obviously it is 751 times 2 and equal to 15.02%. Okay. Number 6, very similar, but it is asking you for the after-tax cost of debt. So you do the same thing, you put in the calculator. Now in this question, face value is $1,000, present value is negative 1019, number of years, mature in 14 years, so would be 28, payment would be 35, because it is 7% coupon, and semi-annual payment would be $35. Then you should be able to solve for I equal to 3.394, but it is not yield to maturity. Yield to maturity should be I times 2 and equal to 6.788. Okay, and the question is asking for the cost of debt after tax. So you multiply with 1 minus the tax rate, which is 33%, and the answer is 4.55%. Right, number 7. This company has a debt equity ratio of 2. The pre-tax cost of debt is 9.1%. Cost of equity is 14.3. What is the weighted average cost of capital? Now, if the debt equity ratio equal to 2, so obviously that would be 2 times of equity. Okay, so in the capital structure, the weight of debt over the value of the firm would be 2/3, and the weight of equity in the capital structure would be 1/3. Okay, and so you put in the the formula for the weighted average cost of capital WACC, WACC. So the weight of equity is 1/3 times the cost of equity, which is 14.3, plus the weight of debt is 2/3 times the cost of debt is 9.1%, times 1 minus tax rate, which is 34% tax, and the answer is 8.77%. Number 8. Very similar. Alright, use the same formula. The question is asking you for the cost of preferred stock given the average cost of capital. So the cost of capital equal to 11.08%, which is equal to the weight 0.60% is the weight of equity. So 0.6 times the cost of equity, which is 14.2%, plus the cost of debt is 5.5% after tax, plus weight of debt is 35%. So you have 60% in equity and 35% in debt. Then the remaining would be basically 5%, which is 100% minus 60% minus 35% equal to 5% times the cost of preferred stock. So you solve the equation, you should be able to get the cost of preferred stock equal to 12.7%. Number 9. Debt equity ratio of 0.8. Okay, and the firm has a flotation cost of 6.9% for debt and 12.64% for equity. How much the firm need to borrow to fully fund a project that has an initial cost of $65.5 million. So first you have to calculate the the average flotation cost. Okay, which is equal to, this is the average flotation cost, equal, alright, so it is the weight of debt times the flotation cost for debt, okay, which is WD times FD plus WE times FE, okay, and the weight of, you have debt equity ratio equal to 0.8, so obviously the the weight of debt, which is equal to debt of, D over V, the value of debt over the value of the firm, will be equal to 1 over 1.8, and the weight of I think, I'm sorry, this should be the weight of equity equal to value of equity over V, which is equal 1 over 1.8, and the weight of debt should be equal to D over V, and this one is equal to 0.8 over 1.8. okay, so now you put in this formula, the formula right here, you should be able to get the average flotation cost, which is the weight of debt as a weight of equity 1 over 1.8 times the cost of equity, which is 12.64, plus the weight of debt is 0.8 over 1.8 times the the flotation cost for debt is 6.9%, and the answer is about 10% flotation cost average. So the amount you need to borrow, okay, the amount you need to borrow would be equal to the value, okay, the initial cost, which is 65.5 million over 1 minus the flotation cost, okay. So the formula is right here, 65.5 million over 1 minus the flotation cost. We calculate that over here, and the answer is $72.85 million. Alright, number 10, now if the debt equity ratio equal to 0.6, meaning equity, the weight of equity, okay, you can use a formula which is equal to 0.6, the weight of equity, which is equal to 1 over 1.6, and the weight of debt would be equal to 0.6 over 1.6. So alright, so the average flotation cost would be weight of equity, which is 1 over 1.6 times the flotation cost for equity, which is 12%, 0.12, plus the weight of debt, which is 0.6 over 1.6 times the the flotation cost for debt, which is 6%, 0.06, and this is equal to 9.75%, and the initial cost would be $28,000 over 1 minus the flotation cost, and the answer is 252,631 and 58. Now because this is a cash flow, this project will produce cash flow of 44,000 a year forever, so this is a perpetuity. NPV would be equal to 44,000 over the rate, which is the required return, which is 0.148 because it's perpetuity, and minus the initial cost, which is 252,631.58, And so the answer is 44,666. Okay, so obviously the project should be accepted. Number 11. The company issued 25-year 8% semi-annual bond 3 years ago. The bond currently sells for 93% of its face value. Tax 35%. Book value 45 million. The company has a second debt issues, 0 coupon bond, 13 years to maturity. Book value 35 million. Price is 53% of par value. So what is the book value? Company total book value of all the bonds. So for the first one, the book value is 45 million. The second one, the book value is also 45 million. So the total book value is $90 million. What is the total market value? The first bond is selling at 93%, and the second one is selling at 53% of the par value. So you can use that. So the market value would be 93% of 45 million for the first one, 53% times 45 million for the second one, and the total market value is $65,700,000. What is the best estimate for the after-tax cost of debt? So you use a financial calculator to get the yield to maturity of the two bonds. For the first one, future value is $1,000, present value negative 930, and is 44. Why n is 44? Because 25 years, but issued 3 years ago, so it has 22 years left, but because it is semi-annual payment, so there will be 44 payment, and coupon payment is 40. You put in the calculator, you will get I, which is the interest, for 0.36%, but this is only for 6 months. The yield to maturity would be 2 times 4.36, which is equal to 8.72%, and the after tax would be 8.72% times 1 minus 0.35, and equal to 5.67%. Very similar. Do that for the 0 coupon bonds. Put in the financial calculator. Future value 1,000, present value negative 530, and 26, payment 0. Get I is 2.472, and yield to maturity will be double, which is 4.94%. So after tax, 0 coupon bond would be 3.21%. Now the final after tax cost of debt would be the weighted average of the two. Alright, so the after tax cost of debt for the first one is 5.67%, and the weight is using market value. So the total market value is 65.7 million. Out of 65.7 million, 41.850 is the market value for the first bond, and 23.850 is the market value for the 0 coupon bond. So you can see that the weight of the first one is 41.85 over 65.70, and the weight of the second one is 23.85 over 65.70, and the after tax cost of debt for the 0 coupon bond is 3.21%. So you put them in and you get the answer is 4.78%. Okay. Alright, the last question, number 12. Very similar. What is the market value? What is the market value? So the market value of the bond is the number of, for the bonds, 190,000 bonds, par value 1,000, selling for 111% of the par value, so you can easily find the market value for bonds is 190,000 bonds times the par value times 1.11%, which is the price of the bond currently selling. So you have $210 million, $210,900,000 market value of equity, which is the price times the number of shares. The price is $40 times number of shares, 9.2 million, okay, and equal to 368 million. Preferred stock, $90 per share, 360,000 shares, 32.4 million. And you add all them up, the value of the firm is $611.3 million. So the market value worth of the debt is, the value of debt over value of the firm, 34.5%, preferred stock 5.3%, equity 60.2%. Okay. Calculate the discount rate, which is the cost of equity. Which is the cost of capital. So first, find out the cost of equity using the CAPM. Risk-free rate 5%, beta 1.6, market risk premium 8%, so cost of equity is 17.8. Find out cost of debt using calculator. You get yield to maturity 6.82%, after tax would be 4.09, and cost of preferred stock, which is the dividend over price, so 5 over 90 equal to 5.56. Now you should be able to calculate the cost of capital, which is equal to 12.42%. Okay. Alright, any question, let me know, and after doing the sample questions, you should be able to do the homework on Connect. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.